COVID-19, standing at 79. Mombasa and Nairobi are still the country's hotspots, with more counties recording growing numbers in the past month. Now, our reporter Ngina Kirori is on the streets of Nairobi, and she'll be sampling some of your views on the expectation the day holds, as the president is scheduled to address the nation later in the day. We'll catch up with Ngina later on in this broadcast. Now to Murang'a County, which is one of the counties under the Nairobi metropolis. It is the latest county to record new coronavirus cases. Murang'a reported another case yesterday, bringing the total to 2. The county government is now asking residents not to panic. Martin Maura with more.
Contact tracing in the county of Murang'a had already begun after 2 cases were reported in Kiharu and Maragua constituency respectively, according to the Murang'a CC in charge of health.
Tayari tumeshapata watu 5 ambao walikuwa wanatangamana na wao, na ndio tunajaribu kuona kama tutawapeleka kwenye karantini ili wapimwe na wao, tujue kama nao wameathirika. Endapo tutakuta wameathirika, pia na wao tutawapeleka, na kama tutakuta wako sawa, watakaa hizo siku 14, tutapima mara 2, alafu tutawarudisha nyumbani.
Mbai said the patients were not showing any sign of the sickness and that they had already been moved into isolation and are receiving treatment.
Hii corona iko na sisi na lazima tuishi nayo. Na 85% ya watu ambao wako na corona hawana hata hizo symptoms za kuonyesha kwamba mtu anaumwa. Kwa hivyo ni muhimu sisi kama Wakenya pia tujifunze kuishi nayo, kwa sababu iko katikati yetu, imeshafika vijijini.
As more cases of COVID-19 continue to be reported, the county has instituted measures aimed at curbing the spread of the coronavirus, with the governor giving residents a reassurance.
Wale watu wanaishi kwa hii nyumba wasiwe na wasiwasi, kwa sababu kama kijana hakuwa anaingia nyumbani kwako, huenda ikawa hauna shida yoyote. Na kwa sababu sasa hii corona kulingana na vile iko, inaonekana ni kama imetamba kila mahali huko vijijini. Hata ukihama mahali unaenda ujui kama huko ndio itakuwa iko mingi.
The residents were asked not to panic and continue to adhere to the laid down regulations as provided by the Ministry of Health. Martin Mora, NTV, Murang'a County.
All right, well, we certainly do know that expectation is high amongst Kenyans. We've seen plenty of feedback on Twitter, with many of you hoping that indeed the president opens up the country and reviews the lockdown measures. Well, let's get your views now. Ngina Kirori is in Nairobi in the streets. Ngina, what are people saying?
Well, Smriti, on the 86th day since the first case was announced of coronavirus in the country, the nation has witnessed a raft of measures take place, including social distancing, the cessation of movement in and out of Nairobi and the counties of Kwale, Kilifi and Mombasa, as well as other measures such as the mandatory wearing of the mask and the 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew. Well, on the day when the president is set to address the country, I just want to sample a few views from some citizens, and I'm joined by Lucy Soja. Lucy, tell us a bit about your views. Karibia tu kidogo. I just want to sample your views on what your view is on whether the president should actually reopen the country.
My views is that His Excellency the President Ruto-Kenyatta should open the borders now of the counties and ensure that anyone traveling out of their locality are tested so that they don't take this virus to the villages and to their parents and their children. And also about the church, I would wish the church people who are also going to be conducting services to ensure that only the adults attend the church services, and where possible, they should mount screens outside the church so that anyone who is not able to have a sitting place in the church can be able to sit outside and view the services they go on. And also they should ensure that they have sanitizers and washing areas for everyone coming to the church, and service should not go for more than an hour. And children should not attend because they are too young to keep the social distance.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for your views. And I'm also joined by Evans Okumu. Evans, I would also like to sample your view on whether you think the president should.
Yes, actually the President of the Republic of Kenya is supposed to open the country. I'm saying like that because I've seen most Kenyans, I'm in charge of social distance in this place. They are ready to use face mask, they are ready to keep social distance. Those requirements about the Ministry of Health, Kenyans, we have suffered enough. People in Isili have really suffered enough. Even if you tell the people are going to abide by the rules and requirements of the Ministry of Health. So I'll request the President to actually do something, because the major problem is food. And I say food is the main cause, because people are suffering. If we can do something to make sure Kenyans are abide by the laws, but there's also food. Otherwise, other things are just priorities. But food and the requirements of the Ministry of Health, that is social distance and the use of the face masks, I think Kenyans have suffered enough, and everyone is now ready to abide by that. So I request the President, please open the country. Your people are suffering. We cannot survive without food. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Well, Smriti, those are just some of the views from a section of Kenyans who say that the President should actually reopen the country. Back to you in studio.
All right, Ngina, thanks very much. Well, we will be hearing from President Uhuru Kenyatta later this afternoon. Make sure you stay tuned to NTV, as we will be bringing you that address live. Elsewhere, Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya and his Busia counterpart, Sospeter Ojamong, have asked the national government to speed up testing of truck drivers along the border points to reduce a possible increase in infections of the coronavirus. The governors say heavy traffic snarl-ups blamed on the slow pace of testing is already causing worry, as the respective counties fear that the crowding could increase infections. Oparanya says the national government, through the Ministry of Transport, should come up with a lasting solution. Ojamong, on the other hand, says that residents of Busia and Kakamega counties are at risk of contracting the virus if a solution is not found soon. Busia County has recorded 125 positive cases so far, all said to have been from truck drivers using the Malaba-Busia border.
Wale ambao wanahusika, hasa Inspector General, aliachilia hawa madereva wakitoka kule Mombasa na kwingineko bila kupimwa. Hasa wanakuja hadi wanarundika hapa Busia kupimwa. Na pia hatujakuwa na matayarisho ya kuona ya kwamba tunalinda hawa watu.
Hapa Busia imekuwa hotspot ya COVID. Wale watu ambao wameambukizwa na corona wamekuwa wengi. Na wamekuwa wengi kwa sababu ya hii magari matrela mnaona hapa. Hayo matrela upande ule kutoka Malava kwenda Luandeti kule Kakamega, karibu kilomita 100. Hao wako njiani, hujui wanakula wapi, hujui wanalala wapi.
Leo nataka niwahakikishie nikiwa hapa kwa niaba ya waziri mwenzangu CS Kagwe ya kwamba Busia leo kuna ndege ya polisi wale mmeona imetua pale. Tumeongeza wale wataalam ambao wanakuja kufanya testing ili tuwe na vifaa, tujaribu tupunguze jam ambayo umekuweko, so that we increase our testing capacity ili tutoe hii jam.
Murang'a woman representative Sabina Chege has urged Kenyans to continue observing the COVID-19 containment measures, even as the country prepares for a cautious and gradual reopening. The legislator said the government should put in place elaborate measures to contain the spread of the virus before the containment measures, including the dusk to dawn curfew and the cessation of movement into some counties and estates, are lifted. She spoke during the burial ceremony of Benga musician James Walter Githinji, better known as Jimmy Wayuni, who passed away in a grisly road accident along the Thika Highway last week. Hundreds of residents of Kiambu village in Gatundu South paid their respects to the deceased, with the Kiambu County Commissioner Wilson Wanyanga passing the President's condolences to the family.
Kama tumesema tutafungua curfew, tukifungua curfew tutafungua mpaka saa ngapi? Na ikifunguliwa ni mikakati gani iko katika mabaa zetu na zile restaurants? Kwa sababu umeona hata kwa hoteli mtu akienda kukula akuli na mask, anatoa hiyo mask. Sasa kwa ile hoteli kweli kuna social distance. ama mtu anatoa mask na anasahau, anaendelea na watu wanazungumza. Kwa hivyo lazima tujue huu ugonjwa wa COVID si rahisi. Lazima pia tuwe na mikakati. Wale ambao wako COVID positive na si wagonjwa, hawajaonyesha dalili yoyote ya kwamba wako na ile ugonjwa, lakini wako na ile virus kwa mwili yao. Hao tutawafundisha aje ndio wakae nyumbani, wasipelekwe kwa hospitali, ili hospitali zipelekwe watu ambao ni wagonjwa na wanahitaji usaidizi wa madawa.
A 54-year-old woman from Manyata Arabs in Kisumu County is living in agony after sickness confined her to her bed since the coronavirus pandemic started. Evelyn Atieno says that she lost her 5 children and then her husband also passed on, leaving her with nobody to turn to for help. She was diagnosed with tuberculosis and is unable to afford medication or treatment. Before the coronavirus pandemic, Evelyn said she would go out to wash people's clothes at a fee to enable her to buy food, but now she's too sick to do so.
Bwana aliaga. Mandugu ya bwana alinitoa kwa boma. Watoto alikufa yote 5. Sina namna vile mimi naweza kuanza. Kukuja nilikuwa mzuri, nilikuwa nafanya tu kazi yangu.
Elsewhere, the government's decision to transfer cargo from the port of Mombasa to the inland container depot in Naivasha has been met with resistance from the business community, transporters and also human rights organizations in Mombasa. Well, they maintain the move will kill the economy of the port city. Kevin Mutai also reports that there is a petition in Parliament forwarded by MPs to impeach Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia.
Nyali Member of Parliament Mohammed Ali is allegedly collecting signatures in a move to petition Parliament to impeach Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia. This move was precipitated by the decision of the government to transfer transit cargo from the port of Mombasa to the inland container depot in Naivasha.
Sisi kama wanabiashara tunatoa mwito kwa ndugu zetu wote wale wabunge ambao wako pwani waunge mkono hoja hiyo na bwana Macharia wa muimpeach mara moja.
The Dock Workers Union, human rights organizations and the business community are also accusing area leaders of failing to intervene to address the matter. They claim that some of the MPs from the region have been promised business opportunities at the new facility in Naivasha. They want the use of Naivasha ICD to be optional.
We are so surprised ya kwamba wabunge wa pwani wamekaa kando sana na rasilimali zao. Na sisi tunajiuliza ni nini watatuambia when it comes to 2022.
According to the Kenya Revenue Authority, the new inland port is expected to boost storage of cargo, especially cargo destined for the East African Community partner states. But those opposing the move are reiterating that the decision will kill the economy of Mombasa.
Many transport companies have gone down. Many transport businesses have shifted. They are no longer within the regions. And this is directly because of bad policies and regulations that have been set up through the transport ministry.
If these jobs are really there, why couldn't they start with the Dogokundu project so that the coastals could get jobs other than destroying the jobs that we have and telling us that we shall get jobs from Dogokundu? So these are white lies.
All cargo destined for neighboring countries is currently being ferried via the standard gauge railway directly from Mombasa to Naivasha, where transporters are expected to clear and pick them up for onward delivery. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
Now, families in Gashie benefited from food donations aimed at making lighter the burden occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic. A number of residents sustained minor injuries when the exercise turned chaotic. The program was led by a member of the COVID-19 Fund Committee, Narendra Guru, who called on Kenyans to support vulnerable Kenyans in the community.
Queues of hundreds of Gashie residents in Kiambu County, eager to receive food, snaked through the corridors of this Anglican church. The food donation exercise by the emergency and response team targeted about 1,000 families.
We are supposed to target the people who is affected due to the COVID-19. And these are the people are affected COVID-19 because they have been removed from the house help work from the surrounding area because of people are scared that these people will come, Mfanyakazi will come with the disease.
However, the seemingly orderly exercise came to an abrupt halt after the residents started scrambling for the rations. The COVID-19 Fund Committee member Narendra Guru said the donation was worth more than 2.6 million and it targeted the most vulnerable members of the society. Eunice Omolo, NTV.
The Kajiado Referral Hospital Management has resumed suspended specialized medical services, restoring hope to many suffering patients. The hospital management had suspended all special clinics to boost their preparedness towards the COVID-19 pandemic. Most medical officers were deployed to isolation centers, and several patients seeking specialized treatment had their appointments postponed. The management says that the hospital, which pays homage to the biggest county COVID-19 isolation center, now has the capability to handle COVID-19 related cases as well as normal medical care.
Measures to contain the spread of COVID to our patients and also to the members of staff. The hospital workload during this period of COVID pandemic has reduced. The number of patients that are coming to our outpatient department has significantly reduced, and also our inpatient. In our outpatient, the services have actually reduced by half.
Well, the government has started profiling small businesses and enterprises that have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic to help them revive their businesses. Trade Ministry's Chief Administrative Secretary Lawrence Karanja said that small businesses such as the Juakali sector are among those that have been affected, and the government is working on granting them loans. The Juakali sector accounts for close to 30% of the country's GDP. Thus, the need by the government to help them recover from the economic crisis that has been occasioned by the pandemic. The ministry also says that it will ensure that entrepreneurs in the sector will be equipped with modern machinery to ensure efficient production. The Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency, on the other hand, said that they were going to ensure that there was an availability of market for Kenyan products locally and globally to boost the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya initiative.
Na fedha ambazo zitakuwa ni za kusaidia wananchi haswa wale wa biashara ndogo ndogo. Tuko na pesa ambazo zilitengwa na serikali za kusaidia ambazo tutakopesha wafanyabiashara wadogo, that is the small and micro entrepreneurs. Watakuwa wakipewa hiyo pesa ili kuamsha na kuendesha biashara zao. Pia tutakuwa tukiangalia wale ambao wameumia sana kwa sababu ya corona.
Hawa entrepreneurs na innovators ambao wako hapa chini ni kuwatafutia soko. Mara ya kwanza ni ile kwamba ni kuhakikisha kwamba kuna soko kule nje, ili muweze kuwa na bidhaa mingi ambazo kidogo zinaweza nunuliwa hapa Kenya na zingine pia ziweze kuuzwa mahali pengine.
We've got to take a quick break on NTV at One. Stay tuned, a little bit of politics plus much more when we return.
Oya cheki, kuna vile sasa muziki manze, kuna vile inajipa manze, yani na cheki haimaanishi tu tunajibamba, yani very regular.
Kitu ya muhimu kwanza ni kujua hali yako ya status ya HIV.
Kwa hapa hivi tuwapeleke na Rieng, tujue venye manze tutasaidiana, si kama vijana. Na kama unaogopa kwenda pale hivi kwa clinic, unaweza pitia pale hivi kwa chemist ya mtaa, uitishe a self test kit na wanauza 500 bob only. Unajitestia tu mtaani, unajua hali yako.
Manze na ukiweza patikana nayo, yani uko positive manze, usiogope. Kuna madawa yani jo, kuna counseling manze, unaweza kula fit yani, alafu unaweza piga bado ma exercise kiasi hivi. Na kama nyewe manze ukiweza patikana yani hauna manze, usiasi tu unaenda kutafuta tena.
Cheki, ukiweza abstain,
lakini maji yakizidi unga,
wrap it before you tap it.
La bila gloves haiwezi. Rieng kujijua.
Unapoendelea kujikinga kutokana na HIV, tafadhali zingatia taratibu zote za serikali za kujikinga na virusi vya corona.
Afya bora, maisha bora. Jipime, jiinue.
Sonadol Extra imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli kupambana haraka na maumivu ya kichwa, mwili na hata meno. Sonadol Extra, hakika maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
As we battle COVID-19 and adjust to life's new normal, the University of Nairobi encourages you to pursue your career development goals. Applications are ongoing for the June and September 2020 programs for diploma, bachelor's, master's and PhDs in all our campuses with online classes available. Prevent the spread of COVID-19 by following the government health guidelines. The University of Nairobi is a world-class university committed to scholarly excellence.
Rashes again? Kiss Kids diapers. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Bye-bye rashes. Buy diapers. Choose Kiss Kids.
Thanks for staying with us. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya has come to the defense of President Uhuru Kenyatta following accusations that the head of state is turning the country into a one-man show. Munya says the recent actions by the president were only aimed at restoring order in government and his Jubilee party. Speaking in Sagana, Munya dismissed false and untrue claims that democracy in the country has been muzzled. Munya instead accused some politicians of sabotaging government operations and President Kenyatta's Big Four agenda. He spoke in the wake of an ongoing purge of Jubilee's alleged rebels in both the Senate and the National Assembly, something that President Kenyatta says is a move aimed at helping him achieve his agenda for the country. The CS also announced an allocation of 1.6 billion shillings to revive the new Kenya Planters Cooperative Union.
Ya kusimamia chama ikunyang'anya ipatie mwingine, vile ilipatia demokrasia imeharibikia wapi? Na hakuna yule ako na haki zaidi ya mwingine, wote ni wabunge. Ama kuna yule ako na haki zaidi ya mwingine. Sasa huyu akitolewa, ati huyu ametoka Meru, ametolewa, ati huyu ametoka wapi? Wakati alipewa haikuulizwa ametoka wapi. Kusi ni mbunge kama yule mwingine. Sasa chama imeleta ile inaitwa discipline, ndio agenda ya chama kule bunge iweze kufanya nini? Kupita. Tunaelewana?
Now, Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro says President Uhuru Kenyatta would not be at State House if it were not for Deputy President William Ruto. The MP further urges for respectful treatment of the Deputy President. Nyoro, a close ally of the DP, also claims that the Mount Kenya region is firmly behind Ruto.
That the relationship between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto, at least politically, continues to deteriorate is possibly the worst-kept secret. They have been pulling apart since the March 9, 2018 handshake, and as 2022 draws near, they continue to pull even further apart. Those allied to the deputy president within the Jubilee party are calling out the president for the continued bad blood. Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro says the president has been thankless to his deputy.
Nowadays, maneno ya siasa inapangwa na akina Atoli na watu wengine pale. Siasa ya Jubilee inapangwa ni Raila. Ukitaka kuwa na cheo kubwa katika nchi ya Kenya, unaenda kwa Raila. How easily do we forget that it is barely 2.5 years tulizunguka Kenya tukaambia watu Jubilee ya mtu anaitwa Uhuru na Ruto. Vile tulivuka daraja, sasa watu wanataka Wakikuyu watumiwe tena. Watu wakiruka pale waanza kusema sasa tumeruka, tubomoe daraja, tutupe hawa takataka walitusaidia. Watu sio wajinga hii Kenya. Serikali ya Jubilee haingekalia kiti kama kura za Ruto haingekuwa ndani.
Nyoro, who donated revision books to pupils and students in his constituency to use during this coronavirus pandemic, said the president had lost ground by disparaging his deputy without explaining the cause of the fallout.
Hii Kenya hatukuandika barua kuja. Na hii Kenya, you may have all the money, you may have all the land, you may have all the companies, you may be the richest person in Kenya, you may have ile position unataka, lakini Wakenya wako huru, and there is no way we are going back to the dark days za kuhujumiwa. Hiyo wakati iliisha. And anyone with the hangovers ya kutisha watu, anyone with the hangovers ya kila siku ati kuangamiza watu, tutanyamazisha kale, ati kale kama mtu kanaogea sana katatuona. My friends, we are not here by invitation of anyone, and I want to make it very clear. Mimi sitauza watu ya Kiharu kwa vitisho.
The MP now dares the president to ditch his deputy and form a new political relationship with others in a bid to test the reception.
If Jubilee as a government, we are tired of William Ruto, tumurudishia ile kura yote alileta Jubilee, then tumfukuze. Na tukimrudishia tuhesabu tena, tuone kama wale watabaki na kura ya 50% plus 1. Otherwise, you cannot purport to say William Ruto is an angel and a good person. When you want to use him, ufike kwenye unafika, ukifika ati ni mwizi, ni takataka, na wale watu wote wanaonekana na yeye ni watu ambao hawana adabu.
Furthermore, the MP who was part of legislators who got a tongue lashing from President Kenyatta during the Jubilee Party parliamentary group meeting at State House on Tuesday said DP Ruto supporters were growing tired of being hunted down by government agencies for their political affiliation.
Hii nchi tunakaa na vitisho kila siku. Utatolewa hii kiti, utafukuzwa, utatumiwa KRA, utatumiwa DCI, hata FBI, hata Mossad, utatumiwa yote. Ukionekana na makosa moja, ambaye imekuwa ni makosa kubwa kuliko capital punishment ama capital offense. Makosa ya kuwa rafiki ya William Ruto.
The MP further noted the Tanga side had crafted a strategy to counter President Kenyatta's moves in Mount Kenya. Kennedy Muredhi, NTV.
Right, from that, let's shift focus to some world news. And WHO, that's the World Health Organization, on Friday backed the use of fabric face masks in places where the new coronavirus is widespread and physical distancing is difficult, in a change of advice. This came as President Jair Bolsonaro threatened on Friday to withdraw Brazil from the World Health Organization, following in the footsteps of his US counterpart Donald Trump, accusing it of ideological bias.
As the deadly virus continues to spread, the WHO issued updated guidance on who should wear a mask, when it should be worn, and what it should be made of. The use of masks has been a hot topic ever since the pandemic first emerged in China in December. The UN Health Agency stressed that face masks alone could not protect one from COVID-19, and people suffering with the virus should not be out in the public if they can possibly avoid it.
WHO has also updated its guidance on the use of masks by the general public in areas with community transmission. In light of evolving evidence, WHO advises that governments should encourage the general public to wear masks where there is widespread transmission and physical distancing is difficult, such as on public transport, in shops, or in other confined or crowded environments.
The WHO also issued a new guidance on the composition of non-medical fabric masks for the general public, advising that they should consist of at least 3 layers of different material. The inner layer should be water absorbent, such as cotton. The middle layer should be from a material like non-woven polypropylene and act as a filter, while the outer layer should be water resistant, such as polyester.
Masks are part of a comprehensive solution. And we to be very, very, very careful that masks are not seen as an alternative to the other public health measures that are so desperately needed. And you'll see in the countries that have done well, and many people have said to me, well, masks are used broadly in country X or country Y, and country X and country Y are doing well. That's great, but in those countries, case finding, cluster investigation, widespread testing, isolation of cases, and quarantining of contacts is also done comprehensively.
All right, now the fight for justice is still in full force from the United States of America to Sydney, Australia, and of course several other countries. Protests to protect Black lives continue. Huge crowds converged to the makeshift memorial site honouring George Floyd, the black man who was killed by a white police officer in Minneapolis. Some laid down flowers, reflecting, taking photos, dancing and celebrating being, quote, a closer step to justice after, quote, a hard week of fighting the justice system. Hundreds of protesters also gathered at Grand Army Plaza in New York before marching as nationwide protests over the death of George Floyd continued for the 10th day. And on the steps of the Brooklyn Public Library, demonstrators also decided to sing Happy Birthday to Breonna Taylor, a medical worker shot in her apartment last March in Kentucky, who would have turned 27 on this day.
Ariana, you want to go in there? No, I'm okay. Sure? Yeah. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. Now. What do we want? We can't get it. Shine.
All right, from that to our sports news now, and Rongai Athletics Club athletes intensified their training at the Nyayo Stadium ahead of the June 11th virtual run, all with the belief that it is a great relief and big sign that sport competitions will possibly soon return. World 1500 meters champion Timothy Cheruiyot will team up with his running partners from Rongai Athletics Club that also has Commonwealth Games champ Elijah Marangoi, Edwin Melly, Timothy Sen and Vincent Keter, and will run in Nairobi. Meanwhile, the Norwegian team of the Ingebrigtsen brothers, Henrik, Philip and Jacob, will run in Oslo. Each team will have a maximum of 5 athletes, with 3 finishing the race. The virtual race, dubbed Maury Plant Memorial Race, was organised to pay tribute to legendary Australian athlete Maury Plant, who passed away in January this year, while also supporting the fight against COVID-19. Now, Bahrain's Salwa Eid Nasser, who ran the 3rd fastest time ever when she won World 400 meters gold last year, has been provisionally banned after failing to meet whereabouts criteria. The Athletics Integrity Unit says the Nigerian-born 22-year-old clocked 48.14 seconds to win the one-lap race at the Doha Worlds, placing her 3rd in the all-time top list behind Marita Koch and Jamila Kratochvila, beg your pardon. Nasser switched allegiance to Bahrain in 2014 when she was 16. That year, she turned heads at the Youth Olympic Games when she won 400 meters silver while wearing a hijab and a full bodysuit. Elite athletes are required to provide the ARU got it with their whereabouts 90 days in advance so they can be subjected to out-of-doping competition tests. Out-of-doping tests, I beg your pardon. Now, the Champions League aspirations, Borussia, were dealt a major blow after they went down 1-0 to Freiburg in the German Bundesliga on Friday. Alexander Schroeder scored the lone goal of the match. Round 30 of the German Bundesliga goes on this afternoon with league leaders Bayern Munich away to Bayer Leverkusen in the early kickoff. 3rd place RB Leipzig host Paderborn, while live on NTV we bring you the match between Dusseldorf and Hoffenheim. And also Eintracht Frankfurt battle Mainz, while Borussia Dortmund host Hertha Berlin at the Signal Iduna Park. Now, Barcelona players held training sessions on Friday without Lionel Messi, who has not trained with the rest of the squad since Tuesday after working separately in the gym on both Wednesday and Friday while on Thursday all the players were given the day off. Messi sustained a minor thigh injury, but Barcelona remained confident that he will be fit for the team's first game back against Mallorca on June 13th. Barcelona said Messi should return to training in a few days' time, but his absence raised doubts over his fitness ahead of the trip to Mallorca. Like all La Liga teams, Barca will have had only 10 days to train together when competitive matches resume on June 11th, following the 3-month break due to the coronavirus pandemic. Messi has endured an injury-interrupted season, but after regaining fitness, he quickly found form, scoring 24 goals in 31 appearances so far this term to help Barcelona sit 2 points clear at the top of La Liga. And that closes NTV at 1. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Smriti Vidyarthi. Do remember to stay tuned to NTV though, as we will be broadcasting live the address by President Uhuru Kenyatta, expected any time from 2 p.m. So be sure to stay with us. Bye-bye for now.
This is NTV.